Hello, class, and welcome to Arithmetic time. I'm going to take a few minutes just to review. It's a review lesson. There will be a quiz today, too. So you'll do the quiz, then there is a new lesson too today, but there's a lot of review on it as well. But there's a couple of new things, so it won't be too hard, though. But you look here, there are a few things that have come to my attention that we need to review. And so we're going to do that first before going on to what's new. And of course, you'll be doing your quiz today too. Now look up here at the board and you will see math lesson 147 for today. I hope you can see this all right. If not, at least you can hear my voice. April 22nd, 2020. All right. And line graph I have written here. So I drew it on here so that you can see it a little bit better. No, it's not perfect, but we'll try. When you see in parentheses like 12, 13, that's the first one I'm going to find on my line graph. The first number, remember, is the horizontal line this way. The second line is the vertical line going up this way. So let me see so you can see it better. Know that you trying to learn the best way so that you can see it. Okay, so if I went over 12 and up to 13, let's say 12 and then up 13, that lines up with 13. Can you see? Am I in the way? And I'm going to put a dot there. Okay, so over 12 and then up to 13, and I put a dot. Okay, then on the next one, what does the next one say up here on the board? 10, 5. See that? 10, 5. I'm not in the way for you. Anyway, you can hear my voice. So I'd go over here and I'd go over 10 and I would go up 5. Is that right? Over 10, up vertically to 5. And I believe that's where it is, right there, right? Then after I plot them all, and there may be several I do, then I could draw a line. You could take a ruler to make it straight, make it straighter. Then I'm not using a ruler on this board like this, but it'd be difficult to do. But and you can do that, and you can have the line going different places on your line graph. Does everybody understand how to do that? And that's how you would find it. But again, in parentheses, over then up to find the coordinates on the chart for your line graph. So hopefully that helps you. If anything was vague, there's a vocabulary word we had for today, something that's vaguely or hazy. If it's hazy, now maybe it's more clear to you. All right, so that's that. Another thing we need to do is we need to look at reviewing story problems. So the first thing we need to do is look at our story problem clue words and remember what they are. Look, we'll go back to that at the end. What are we going to do for that one? Each. I'm going to bring it up close so you can see it, even though you might not see all of me. Each, right? Each one, right? If you see the story problem, I'm going to add, subtract, multiply, divide. It's going to be one of those four things. Each. Divide, okay? Each. How much did each one cost? If there were this many for the whole price, we'll go over some examples in a minute. And you'll understand what I'm talking about if you don't know that one. I want you to memorize these. Less than. Less than. What is it, class? Did you say subtract? Subtract. Less than, subtract. So again, the story problem, clue words, product. Find the product. What does product mean? Did you say multiply? Multiply. Multiply. What about sum? What is the sum? Add in sum. We add. Find the sum. Okay? Find the sum. How about this? In all. In all. I hope you know that that one's add. We've been doing that one for quite a while. And what about this? How many more? How many more? Subtract. How many more? Subtract. Right? How many more? Subtract. How many more is this than this? Subtract. Left. How many were left? Did you say subtract? That one's also subtract. How about all together? All together. All together. Add, just like in all together, add. Now this one you got to think about per. This one is often divide, but it could be multiply depending on how it's used in the story problem. And I'll show you some examples of that in just a minute, but that one you need to think through with how it is used. What are they really asking when they use that word? Because you can use that word in more than one way, but it's going to be multiply or divide, but you're not going to add or subtract. I don't think so. It's going to be multiple. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so here are a few examples of the word per. $1.75, okay? Or a dozen eggs, let's just say, a dozen eggs. How much does it cost per egg? How much would it cost per egg? What are we going to do? If the $1.75 is for a whole dozen, and a dozen's going to be 12, right? And you want to know how much per egg, is our number getting bigger or smaller? Well, if it would be less for one than a whole dozen, then we know that our per is divide. But if our number logically would be getting bigger, we know it's going to be multiplied. So when you see the word per, it's going to be multiply or divide. So just think, is it getting bigger or is it getting smaller? And then you'll know multiply or divide. Logically, would it get bigger or smaller? And you'll be able to get that right. And of course, this one's getting smaller, so you're going to divide. You're going to take $1.75 and you would divide by how many eggs? Well, how many eggs are in a dozen? 12. Divide by 12. Draw your box and put a 12 there and divide. Okay? Here's another example of the word per. 70 miles per hour, mph, means miles per hour. If you were traveling 70 miles per hour, remember, when we say 70 miles per hour, we're saying 70 miles in 1 hour, okay? 70 miles per hour or 60 miles or 30 miles per hour, whichever it is in the story problem, that many miles per hour is how much they went in 1. So what if they said, how many miles did they go in 4 hours? All right, per. Is our number going to get bigger or smaller? Well, if 70 miles per hour is 70 in 1 hour, and they want to know how many we went in 4 hours, logically it would get bigger, wouldn't it? Because 1 hour is less than 4 hours. So we would simply, we divide or multiply. Again, per means you're going to multiply or divide. So you're going to multiply in that one, right? Now, what if they said, we went, let's see, they went 300 miles, right? And they were traveling 70 miles per hour. How far did they go in 1 hour? See, now you're going to divide. So it depends on which way they ask it on this per, okay? Sometimes it will multiply. You have to think logically. Always ask yourself, is it getting bigger or is it getting smaller? And then you'll know what to do, okay? Here's a good one with a clue word. There are 36 cookies, okay? And there are 12 children. How many do each receive of the children? How many cookies would each receive? See, there's 36 cookies, there's 12 children. Now, logically, the clue word here is each. each. What do we do for each as far as our clue words? Now, logically, if there's 12 and they have to share them, is our number going to get bigger or smaller? Logically, it gets smaller. So we're going to divide. But remember the word each, divide. Okay? Divide for each one. And again, depending on how the sentence is used, it may be possible to multiply if it's asked in reverse. So you really do, you have to think logically. Usually you will divide with the word each. You know, there's a whole ream of books or notebooks for $12. How much would each one cost? Divide, right? You'll often divide with each, okay? Each. You're going to divide. So I would memorize divide for each, because most of the time there may be a way of asking it, but most of the time, divide. And know these story problem clue words that we went over. You can replay this video again and know what they are, and that will help you. That will help you a lot. Now, I have one up from yesterday, story problem. I heard that there was maybe a problem with some story problems yesterday. So Julie made 10 quarts of punch, I'm looking at yesterday's paper, and 3 gallons of lemonade for the Sunday school party. How many quarts of drink did she make in all? Now, what's the clue word? You said in all, didn't you? In all means, that's right. It means add, doesn't it? Well, what are we going to add? Well, we're going to add, look, 10 quarts plus 3 gallons. But then at the end it says, how many quarts? They want to know how many quarts. So we're going to write, Julie made 10 quarts and 3 gallons. How many quarts of drink did she make in all? They want to know how many quarts in all. So we can set up a problem like this where we add them together, but they're not the same. So there's something we have to do first in order to arrive at our problem. So rewrite everything. I hope you can see it. Not listen very carefully. I'm going to rewrite which was used the most. It wants it in quarts. So that's the one that we have to do. And I'm going to abbreviate for the sake of conciseness here. And I'm going to put quarts, equal sign, quarts. And anywhere that I see quarts, I can just bring down. That's already in quarts. I can bring that down. This is the one we don't know. So this is the one we're going to solve for, isn't it? That's the one we're going to solve for, the one that is different. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It is easy as step 1, 2, 3, right? So step 1 is, are we going from larger to smaller or smaller to larger? Remember the little hand signals? Larger to smaller, multiply. Smaller to larger, divide. Like the little dots on the division sign when you do that, sign. So gallons or quarts, which is larger? Gallons. Okay, we're going from larger to smaller, we multiply. So we're going to multiply. That's step 1. What is the special number? How many quarts are in 1 gallon? 4 quarts, and you need to know that in order to do these. 4 quarts. So we're going to multiply 4 by what? What other number's there? 3. Well, and again, we're going to simply multiply 4 times 3. We can do that in our head. It's 12. 12. Okay? 12. Hope you can see that. We're going to put 12 in the blank. Now we can add 10 plus 12. What's 10 plus 12? Did you say 22? 22. Then we're going to bring it up in our answer. Now, that's not the end. Since it's a story problem, we need to write 22 quarts. Can you see it? Might be in the way of the camera there. In all. That's the answer. 22 quarts in all. And include the words quarts in all, because that's what asks you. Look at the question. How many quarts of drink did she make in all? So it's asking you quarts in all. So you write the number, quarts in all, and that should be just fine. Now we're going to go over some measurement problems because I know we need to remember these. Ready? Together. 1 decade equals 10 years. 1 millennium equals 1,000 years. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. 1 week equals 7 days. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. That's the one we just did. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. 1 year equals about 52 weeks. 1 yard equals 36 inches. 1 year equals 365 days. 1 pint equals 2 cups. 1 score equals 20 years. 1 day equals 24 hours. Are you keeping up? 1 bushel equals 4 pecks. Do you have that one memorized? You need to. 1 leap year equals 366 days, which we had this year, leap year. 1 year equals 12 months. 1 century equals 100 years. 1 decade equals 10 years. And then we're back to the beginning, I believe. Go over these. I didn't do all of them that we've done, but I've done some. Replay this. And parents, you can have them replay this as many times in order to get these memorized, okay? And make your own flashcards, and that's fine too. That'd be great. So, 4th grade, you do it too. All right, so you know those, you memorize those. That brings us to our new one. Today, I want you to memorize this one. We have a new fact I want you to learn. 1 tablespoon equals how many teaspoons? 1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. 1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. Now I want you to notice the abbreviation. Let me see something here. Get my little pointer. Thank you, Nick. I've been using this a lot. Have you noticed this in the videos? This wonderful thing you carved for me. I'm so excited about it. It's really a nice little pointer when I want to look at small, something very detailed. Look at tablespoon. It has the B in it. TBSP. And then just teaspoon is just TSP, teaspoon. So the one with the B is tablespoon for the abbreviation. The tablespoon's bigger, so the teaspoon is smaller because there's just 1 tablespoon, but it takes more, 3 teaspoons. The teaspoon is smaller. The tablespoon is bigger. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. So I brought with me today this cup. And in this cup, I have some measuring spoons just from the kitchen. You can do this at home. This one is a tablespoon, and this one is a teaspoon. Which one's bigger? Obviously, the tablespoon is bigger than the teaspoon. Now I have some water here, and I could just you know, fill my teaspoon up. Here's my tablespoon. And I'm going to pour 1 in. I'm going to pour number 2 in. And then there's 1 more to make 3, right? And I don't quite have it fully in there. Should have put more in there. There we go. And look, if you could see as I was doing that, as I was putting it in there, I think I went below the camera there. You can see that it's filled up now. See? Maybe I should hold it like this. Ready? And try that again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. And if you can see, it is full. It took 3 of them to fill it up. And you can prove that 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So just something to help you prove that 1 tablespoon equals 3. Now, what if I had 2 tablespoons? How many teaspoons would I have? Who said 6? Logan, did you say 6? Michael, did you say 6? Alice, did you say 6? Naomi, did you say 6? I hope you did. Look, yes. So the ratio is 3 to 1, right? Multiply this number by 3 to get how many teaspoons. Divide this number by 3 to get how many tablespoons, right? Because this is the bigger one. So on your paper, it might ask you 3 tablespoons will be how many teaspoons? You'd multiply by 3 because it's going to be bigger. When I say bigger, it's going to take more. A bigger number will be here. This one's bigger, okay? So make sure you know that. Tablespoons to teaspoons, know the ratio, divide or multiply. If there's 6 tablespoons, I'm going to divide 6 times 3 to get how many teaspoons? It's going to be 18, isn't it? Okay. And just multiply to get the teaspoons. Divide the number. If they give you teaspoons, divide to get the tablespoons. Because, see, a 1 and a 3. So it's 1 to 3, right? Multiply by 3 to get how many teaspoons? If I multiply 1 times 3, I get 3, right? If I want to get how many tablespoons, divide. And that will help you out with one of the sections. Memorize it. 1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. And you should be able to do your page if you know those things. Review, do your paper, of course, take your quiz. Have your email me the quiz and do a super job. And until next time, guess what? I look forward to seeing you in the next video. You take care, all right?